When I was a little girl, I got the nickname, the Little General. And I think it was because we go to the playground and I always knew what I wanted to play next. And people would come to me and say, dodgeball or jumping jacks or whatever. And it was just a natural tendency of mine to take control. And I felt like later, as I thought about that part of my life, that maybe that's where I got this idea that leadership was important and that leadership makes a difference in the world. And maybe that's why I decided to become a leadership coach, which is essentially what I do. So maybe there's something in my DNA, maybe from my father being in the military as a lieutenant colonel, maybe because my grandfather was a Lutheran minister, maybe it was my grandmother being a tutor, but this idea of coaching and training and teaching and leading all goes together for me. I work with executives to help them run their businesses better. Sometimes I think that's where I got this tendency to understand leadership. So maybe that's why I do what I do today. I have this innate ability to be a leader and to help others see what leadership means, which generally means that you are making more leaders. It doesn't mean that you're the one making the rules, or it's not about power. This is about how are you bringing people along with you.
So the genesis of your small business, Abiding Strategy, really got its start from your childhood.
That's really true. I have always had a natural ability to do these things, and it actually drives a lot of the work I do with my clients. The idea is to have you doing what's natural for you, your ingrown, inbuilt talents, those hardwired things that are how you naturally lead. That's what I try to draw out in my coaching. And I think that comes from my childhood, the fact that I knew this was normal for me, this was natural for me, and I wanted everyone to have that feeling about what they do every day. How can you do more of what you do well naturally and just manage the things that you don't do well or delegate them, which is often hard for leaders. That knowing and growing up knowing that way is important, I think, for everyone to find out, and that's where coaching comes into play so strongly.
So tell us about your deep involvement with some of the area's nonprofits.
I have a heart for the nonprofit business, and I spent 15 years working in nonprofits and trade associations. So when I opened the business, I decided that I would give back to the community by allowing 6 or 8 days of my year to be dedicated to the nonprofit community. So if you're a 501c3 in the North Texas area, you need help, I'm here for you. I will bring you board development training, I will bring you the strategy workshop, whatever you need, I do that, and I do it pro bono. I just think it's a great way to give back, and it's something that I learned while I worked in the nonprofit space. It was so lacking for that industry and that community. They often don't have the money to hire a fancy strategist, but I'll come in and do it for you at no charge.
We all know you have a deep love for animals. Tell us about some of the ways you've been fostering their welfare.
Well, I wrote my whole first book around the topic of animals. I have had over 24 animals in my life, horses, cats, dogs, birds. And since I have such that passion for helping animals find permanent homes, I decided that my first book would be written around the lessons I learned for leadership based on my animal stories. And so every chapter in that book is about one of my animals and what that animal taught me about leadership. So it always connects back to that. I just love having the animals, but I also work with some foster groups, and I do a lot of helping get the word out about animals. I've been to the shelters and helped them, cleaning cages, that sort of thing, walking the dogs. And because the book is written all around the animals, I think it raises some awareness about how important it is for us to spay and neuter. But I also have leadership lessons in that book that I learned from my animals. One dog was a great communicator, another dog was fearless, that sort of thing. So I wrote the whole first book on all the things about leadership that I learned from my animals, and it makes it a really fun keynote if you're opening at a conference or something and people like to talk about their babies, their pets. So I use that a lot that way.
What advice would you give to small businesses to encourage their growth?
I think that most small businesses have a little bit of a struggle asking for help. They worry they can't afford it, or they worry they don't want to be seen as weak, or they don't have anyone to ask. The biggest thing we can do to build a great culture in a company is to be a team. Understand that you can't do anything by yourself. Pull in the people that you need for whatever their skills and talents are. Ask for help. There are lots of sources out there, really expensive ones, free ones. People that are a member of this chamber will help you. It's just no shame in saying, I need help. I don't know this part. Because think about it. If you know how to make great shoes, or you know how to make great pizza, that may not mean you know how to run a great business. That's a different skill set than the product that you're providing. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Get out there in the community and tell people what you're doing, and treat everyone kindly. Just be nice. Be good to your people, and they will be good to you.